Hello again, fellow Mystery Files. I am back with another bonus video, this time looking at the book covers and artwork of The Secret of Chimneys, which, again, not my favorite Agatha Christie novel. This is probably the novel I know the least well. Again, we'll see how this goes. Again, a lot of the book covers for The Secret of Chimneys were repetitive, a lot of the same motif and images going on. So, again, not too many to discuss here, as they were all basically the same. But before I begin, make sure you like and subscribe to keep up to date with the channel. There are potential minor spoilers ahead here for The Secret of Chimneys. So, I mean, again, nothing too major. I won't be like spoiling the entire novel or anything like that. So just be careful. Starting out, we have the original cover from the Bodley Head. And again, I actually do know what this scene is. There might be some things I don't remember about this novel because I don't know it as well. But this is Bill Eversley and Virginia Revel sort of like snooping around at night when they hear some noises and they see the men like looking through the suit of armor. I actually think this is a pretty good image here. A lot of the images for this novel are just sort of like a random jewel or like the mansion itself. So I think this is a pretty good image. I always like this sort of like old timey style the Bodley head covers have. Again, again, not like necessarily the most like perhaps like important scene in the novel, but again, pretty active one, pretty interesting one. I do think this evokes a lot of like mystery going on. Like, what is that man doing in that suit of armor? But again, probably it's probably my favorite cover for The Secret of Chimneys as well. It's definitely the most interesting looking one. We also have this 1930 reprint from the Bodley Head. Again, very weird coloring here. I'm not sure what all those colors are. I did wonder if that was supposed to be like light reflecting off of a jewel or a diamond or something. You know how there's like always the prism sort of colors going on. Yeah, this definitely reminded me of like those wild covers from the 1970s we sometimes see on Christie works. Again, picture of a mansion here, lots of chimneys. That is obviously chimneys. Again, I was sort of like the dead tree outside. Just to give it a little bit of like a spooky sort of like mystery kind of feel to it. Again, though it is very dark, you can't really see anything. You just have the one light on in the window. Again, it's very interesting. It's very different sort of coloring. We have this 2020 cover from HarperCollins. Again, looks like a case crime folder, which is rather interesting. I don't think they probably didn't use those in the 1920s. Again, I've mentioned this before. Not a big fan of advertising movies on book covers. It's very timely, very annoying as well. And again, this is a very plain sort of ugly kind of color. It reminds me a lot actually of the original Lord Peter Wimsey covers, which are just all like ugly yellow with the title on them. Again, we do have a little bit of blood splatter here. Again, to me, like that blood splatter looks very almost forensic-y, not really appropriate for The Secret of Chimneys, but again, they had to do something here. We have this Berkeley edition, and this is the edition of the novel that I have and that's on my shelf. I actually had to double check because I so rarely even look at this book. Did not remember what cover I have, but it is this one. Again, the tops of chimneys, specifically the chimneys of chimneys. Again, going to be a very common theme going forward here. We have this graphic novel from HarperCollins. This was originally a French cover, but now it's in English here. Again, the chimneys of chimneys, but I do like the writing here. It's very big, and I like it's very colorful sort of style as well. Again, I like the big letters. The Secret of Chimneys look at least a little interesting here. We have this Warburg Classics edition. Again, another picture of the top of chimneys with their chimneys. But I sort of like this sort of canceled postage stamps in the background. It definitely gives it like an international flair. This is a bit of a travel international intrigue there. I don't know, those are stamps of Slovakia or whatever it is. But again, I do like this background here a little bit. We have this ELO edition. This is for the Amazon Kindle. And again, we have on the table here we have that package of like the letters and the manuscript next to the diamonds there, and this does give you a much bigger sort of hint about what the novel is about and all this sort of like international intrigue and sort of the setup of the novel here. Again, I thought it was a little weird. I thought this like type font was really weird looking, but anyway, it's not a bad picture otherwise. We have this Great Pan edition. I have to say, I think since starting these series of videos, the Great Pans are becoming slowly my favorite editions. Yes, because we don't have any Fontana editions yet. But again, this cover is also a bit of a spoiler here. But this is Virginia Revel. You know, she's being blackmailed and all that, and she gets the letters. There's a red handprint. But also, the spoiler part here is that the Koh-i-Noor diamond is in a rose. That's where it's found at the end of the novel. So a bit of a spoiler here. I guess it's not like a spoiler that reveals too much, but it's a rather odd choice to put there. But the image is very striking. I do like this image a lot. We have this pan edition again with a rose. Again, a little hinting there. We have the bundle of the manuscript and the letters. We have a gun. Very mysterious here. Again, I always like these like collection sort of images where they have like different items from the novel. It gives a good sense of what the novel is without spoiling too much here. We have this 1978 Dell edition. Again, sort of similar thing here. We have the a bird bath here indicating a garden. We can see chimneys and as many chimneys very faintly in the background there. And on the bird bath, we have all different items. We have the diamond, we have a gun, we have like a chopped up letter, we have all these different paraphernalia, the bundles, manuscript bundle there, all these different items indicating different important events in the novel. And then we have this Dell edition, sort of very much the same thing. It actually has some of the same objects, like the trace of the red hand. We have this little chopped up letters, the diamond, the dagger. We have all these like different like travel labels, London, Paris, the little ring. And I like how the whole book is bound. There's like a rope sort of tied across the novel, making it look like the book itself is part of the bundle. I thought that was very creative. We have this general press edition again of the tops of chimneys. Chimneys makes a lot of sense. And we have a quote on here from Kate Moss, who's the author of Labyrinth. It says, quote, Agatha Christie was a revolutionary writer, one of the first to make the detective story accessible with clean, easy prose, unquote. And I like how they put that quote there because they don't actually have a good quote about the novel to put on. Again, this novel not necessarily the best one out there. Again, it's not like it wasn't well received at the time, but just thought it was weird they didn't actually have a quote from an author on describing how good the novel is. But again, very fair, I guess. We have this Amazon Classics, and I always like the images Amazon Classics use in sort of like the center of their novels. It's not just for Christie; they have these sort of similar style for many other authors. But I always think it's too small. Like that's such a nice picture of chimneys with the full moon and the art style and everything. Like I wish that was the whole front cover, except not this like small part in the center where you can barely see it. Again, I like the image. I just wish it was much bigger. We have this Wildside Press edition. Again, I like the style, this Art Deco style. Again, this is probably Virginia Revel and Bill Eversley at the party. Again, this actually could be any two individuals, I guess. It could be Bundle, the woman especially. Actually, before recording this video, I refreshed my memory of this book by reading the Wikipedia summary. And Wikipedia has a very long summary of this novel and never once mentions Bundle, which is interesting. Again, not a big Bundle fan. I suppose it's probably Virginia Revel. She's drinking a little martini there, and Bill Eversley. Again, there's actually, I'm not sure if it's intentional or just the art style, but there's like, especially on Bill or whoever this man is supposed to be, there's like blood on his collar and on his cuffs and on his handkerchief. I think that's just the shading style, but it's very weird that it's done that way. We have this other Berkeley edition here, and depicting the Koh-i-Noor diamond and the crown of, I guess, supposed to be representing the crown of Slovakia, and sort of like the international like intrigue battle for power there and all that. Yeah, it's a little plain cover, but again, very colorful, and I think it like does its job. We have this HarperCollins edition, and I believe when I found this, it said this was a HarperCollins Canada edition, which is very weird because I do think Canada has a lot of the same book covers the U.S. has and other countries have. I don't. Canada doesn't have its like own set of book covers. If anyone is Canadian, you can let me know here. And I've seen this style of covers from HarperCollins on other books from other countries, so I don't think this is uniquely Canadian. But again, shows a little bundle of the manuscript and letters and all that. I actually can help at times as I've been filming this video here. I did wonder if like the bundle of manuscripts is supposed to represent a bundle somehow, the character bundle. I don't think it is, but again, a little funny there. We have this Panther Press edition. It's depicting our victim dead on the ground here. Very like realistic. Like this is actually looks like a real person. Usually when you see a dead body on a book cover, it's sort of more artistic. It's very clearly drawn. This looks like a model posed for this, which is very weird. Again, a little graphic too. Again, I'm like don't mind a graphic like book cover like this. I just think like this doesn't tell us anything about the Secret of Chimneys. Like all Agatha Christie's are murderers, so it's like this doesn't really add any new information here. We have this Namaskar edition. This is from India. It is English language though, and I really like this sort of style. It's actually very Indian. You can tell they're sort of like making it locally appropriate. I'm not sure exactly what scene this is supposed to be. It's probably I guess from the party, but again we do have the cocktails. We do have like women wearing like traditional Indian garb, and I like this. I like how a lot of the international covers, especially I noticed from Asia, they sort of like adapt it a little bit so it fits more like culturally locally appropriate. I think that's interesting choice here, and I like this cover a lot actually. We have this Spanish editorial Molino edition. And again, we have the rose. The rose actually looks fake there. And we have this letter E. And I was initially like confused about this letter E, but the E is like on the cutout letter. It's just like this doesn't look like a letter cutout, so I do think that should be fixed. That's not exactly accurate to the text. But again, it's not like the biggest deal ever. We have this Turkish edition, again, depicting chimneys. You can't see too many chimneys on this one, though. But I did like this image here. I thought it was a very nice image. I'm not a big fan of this blood splatter. I noticed, like, on other ones, too, the Turkish edition from this press company, they just sort of, like, throw blood splatter on various covers. And it's like, it doesn't work. Like, why is this whole building covered in blood? It doesn't make much sense. We have this Italian Mondadori edition. Again, we have what looks like our jewel thief sort of mysteriously in the back, and two people meeting here. I believe that's like the delivery of the manuscript and stuff that happens at the beginning of the novel, like the very, very beginning of the novel, the one where Anthony is tasked to deliver the manuscripts to Virginia Revel. Again, it's a very interesting cover here. I do think like the image itself should be bigger. I don't know why Agatha Christie's name is so big and the title is barely visible at the top. It doesn't make much sense. We have this other Italian Mondadori edition, and this cover is much nicer. We have our letters and our manuscript on the table. We have like a murder becoming committed in the shadows and the man walking forward. Very mysterious. I like this cover a lot too, actually. We have this Polish edition of the door knocker, presumably on chimneys, and has a bloody fingerprint on it. Again, this cover doesn't mean a lot. I see a lot of book covers, not just mystery covers, that have just like the door knocker, and it's very weird. I'm not a fan, honestly. We have this other Polish edition, again, depicting, spoiler, the diamond amongst the roses. It's very odd, but again, I think this cover, as opposed to the one from earlier, is less spoilery. It just looks like, oh, there's roses and there's a diamond. I think it's a little bit less spoilery, and I do like this art style as well. We have this Portuguese edition of a hand in a library. I'm not really sure what image this is supposed to be from the book. It could just be like from like the general search of chimneys for the diamond. I did not think this gave Secret of Chimney vibes. If anything, it gave Body in the Library vibes. We have this French edition with a quill pen through a mask. I did not really get what image this was supposed to be from the novel either. I did wonder if that was just supposed to be like generic of the jewel thief going on, as like jewel thieves are sort of like wearing like those Zorro masks and whatnot. Again, I thought it was a little odd of a cover. Not a fan of this one either. We have this Dutch edition with the crown on it. Again, a indicating like the international sort of like power dynamics of Czechoslovakia. Again, I wish this was more sort of, I guess, plot relevant to like the actual mystery that's going on rather than just a more generic crown type thing. We have this Serbian edition depicting this nice image of chimneys with all of its chimneys. I like this art style, and it's very nice, very colorful, but also not so bright. It does give an aura of mystery happening here. And I thought this cover was notable because this is the first one I've recognized that has Agatha Christie's name sort of localized as Agatha Christie. I had not noticed that on other covers. I could be wrong, but I just thought that was an interesting fact here to point out. we have this Bulgarian edition, very much in the style of those like Berkeley Poirots that I have in English. Oh, this one also has Agatha Christie's name localized into Cyrillic, I think it is. Anyway, another one of these collection ones. We have the crown. This looks like more traditional, like a more British crown, actually. We have the rose and we have the pistol. Again, very nice cover here. I always like these sort of like collection ones as like a nice color scheme to it. And finally, we have this Greek edition, also with Agatha Christie's name localized. As soon as I mentioned it, I notice it now all the time, so I'm probably wrong. But I believe this is a depiction of Anthony Cade arriving in England. It could be Bill Eversleigh. It could be any man, really. Not really sure where he is, on a boat or something. I guess that would make sense. Again, this image is very nice. I sort of like this art style here. I wish the image itself was bigger. I know the yellow is sort of like indicating of mysteries, specifically in Italy, but also in other countries in Europe. But I do wish just like the whole image was nicer, that nice image there. And once again, I asked ChatGPT to create for me an AI generated book cover for The Secret of Chimneys, and this was the result. And once again, this is now the second time, two out of two times, a book title with the house in it has just been the picture of the house. It's a very similar image to the one from Mysterious Affair at Styles, including having a curved path up until the house. Though this one is darker. I really like this image. Again, the chimneys there has a lot of smoking chimneys. It looks like the Addams Family house, actually, which I am a big fan of. So I really do like this image here. Although it does appear the chimneys does not have a front door. Like, I don't know where this man walking up to the house would actually enter the house. I guess it's supposed to be Anthony Cade. It really could be anyone. Again, but I really like this image. I like this style. I like how dark it is. Again, this book's not really too dark and mysterious like that, but I do like this image a lot. This is actually one of my favorites so far for the AI generated covers. And that is it for this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about these book covers of The Secret of Chimneys. The Secret of Chimneys, by the way, is celebrating its 100th anniversary in 2025. And unfortunately, or fortunately as it is, I will not be reviewing the book just because I don't have enough time. And again, schedule here, I try to put in the better novels in, and if there was time I would have squeezed this one in, but again I didn't want to try too hard to squeeze it in. But anyway, so this sort of serves as the 100th anniversary retrospective of The Secret of Chimneys. Again, in the next novel on the line here is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which I think a lot of people will be excited for to see the different covers of that. There are a lot, and they do tend to be much different than some of these other books that sort of have like the same motif on them. Until next time, Mystery Files.